So we have a whole gamut supporting families in this space, and my child was born with dyslexia, so it was, I only had access at that time many years ago to just the school social worker and speech, and to see how our school supports have evolved over the past 20 years is amazing. So if you need it, don't think it's not there. Okay. So, um, and the reason I say all of that before this is because I have dealt with some parents this summer who did have to inquire about EAL, inquire about, transitioning their children who did have special needs, and all of those other supports that they needed. So that's why I wanted to come show you the teams first that are available before we jumped into registration. So registration here at HRCE, our schools start with children who are born in 2017, so grade 4, and they go up to 2000. Oh my gosh, I lost it. So they finish in grade 12. However, we do have registration in our schools up to the age of 21. So if a child is born in, they turn 21 at August 31st of this year, they are not eligible for school. But if they were prior to that, they are eligible. Um, so to register, we do require, of course, a proof of age. And I'm also going to show you the form. Um, this shows their legal name and their birth date. So we require a birth certificate, a passport, always on the registration, one or the other. As well, the school might ask for a study permit for the child, but they might not, because you've given them the birth certificate and the passport. We also require proof of residency. So a current bill, like Nova Scotia Power, Halifax Water, Internet Service Provider. We do know that a lot of students are living in apartments and renting from landlords who actually have all of that included in their lease. If the water, the power, and the internet is included in your lease, we would require a full copy of your lease agreement where it shows that that is included in your lease. And it has to have the last page signed by yourself and the landlord. And once you have that, you can use that as your proof of residency. As well, we know that when you do move here, your children do not yet have Nova Scotia Health Card. So proof of health insurance. So international students, we know, can get Canadian health care through their schools. So if your child is on that, you can use that insurance to register your child for school. All you would have to do is put the policy number and the expiration date of the policy and take a screenshot or scan of that document and send that with your registration to the school. Now I'm going to exit out of this just so I could show you the registration form. All right, now how do I do this? Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. Can you still see my screen?
Can you minimize your
Is the PowerPoint still up?
yes.
Okay. Is it gone now?
No. Do you want to
I
share and unshare? Like maybe just share your screen instead of the window?
Okay. I am so not used to Teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we have to use Teams for our class, so we understand you for sure. So
Okay, so
maybe just
stop share.
yeah,
Perfect.
and then
And
just
then,
share your
oh, look
screen.
at that. That's actually quite better.
That's perfect. I see you now.
Okay, so on our website, you are going to type in hrce.ca. You can put /registration, or you could just type registration right here. When you do type registration, if you look here, this is English. Sadly, our registration form is in English, but you can actually select your language to switch to your mother tongue, just so that you could see the documentation that you're going to need. So you can switch that to your mother tongue. Once you get in here, you will see the same things that I was telling you about for requirements for registration, but also your forms are here, both in Word and PDF. Very simple forms. However, I have learned over the summer, if the document isn't in your mother tongue, it is sometimes very hard to understand. So that's another reason why parent navigators are here, to either direct you to someone who can translate, or B, um, work with you to fill out this application. So it's quite simple. The name of your child, the documentation that you're attaching, your address, phone numbers, and language spoken. Because we've had, situations where children have had to learn from home. Last year was great because we only had a few weeks. We didn't have the full year. So it is an ask of technology at home. So internet services at home, if they have access to a phone, tablet, desktop, or laptop. Custody arrangements, if parents are separated or divorced, if there are special arrangements required, it would be great for the school to know, and if you have documents to provide those. So here we would require the contact information of parents or guardians, all of it. I've had to call a lot of parents this summer and say, you forgot your contact information. Yourself, your spouse, your partner, as well, if you have an emergency contact. And I know some of you where it's just you and your children, or you and your spouse and your children, and there's no other emergency contact. If you do have, somebody who, is a good friend, you can put that person down as a contact. They don't necessarily have to pick up your child from school, but they could be the emergency number for them to reach out to if you or your partner cannot be reached. So there are several spaces for contacts. Under medical information, if you don't have a doctor's name, but you do have a clinic that you attend, please put that there, phone number, and again, under the health card, the policy number off of your insurance, and the expiry of the policy. Some of the ones that I have seen, policies are expiring like in December. Within that time, you should have their child's Nova Scotia MSI card. If the child has any medical needs, please put that here. And if you require anything like a transition meeting to meet with the school for your child, please write that under other. And that way the school knows to reach out to you and to set up those meetings, especially with school starting soon. They want to make sure that they have the supports in place to support your child. Any siblings that they might have attending the school that they're in or another school in the area, to put those down. Depending on where you live, transportation. So you do not have to fill this out. All you have to say is if you need special needs transportation. Okay, you don't have to fill out the alternate busing until you're talked to transportation. If school closes early, you must fill this out, what direction you want the school to take. Otgon, I'm going to send this to you with areas highlighted in yellow, that are really, really, really important. Okay, and that's the most important, and most parents forget that. We do have snow days and unexpected power outage days, so it's like, oh, what do we do with your children? So this area is very important. Right here, you would fill out, if your child is a dependent of a temporary resident on a study permit. On your study permit, it would have an end date, 2023, 2024. That would be the day that you would put in parent has a study permit, and that would be the day, and you would attach your study permit with the application to the school. Okay. Again, self-identification completely up to you. And first language, if you are first language French, your child is eligible for French immersion. And then just a signature, and this would go to the school that your child would be attending. So I know you'll probably have questions, so I'm not even going to come back to that right away. Just looking at my time here. So I have, okay, I have to get rid of my screen. I'm
Yes,
learning.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
learning.
sure. It's
Okay.
Microsoft Teams.
It's actually genius because when I do Zoom, it takes forever to switch between screens. So this is great. Um, okay, I had, here it is. So a lot of the questions that I've been getting and over the summer from people moving to the area are, I'm moving to this area. What is the school in my catchment? I'll go back to the screen in a second just to show you where you would find your catchment school. And this form is actually going to go to Otgon as well. So that'll help you. Is there a French immersion school in the area where we are moving to? And how do I know what school to go to in my area? So all of those questions are frequently asked of me. And so this link is the greatest link in the world. And it shows you every school that's in your catchment, if they are French immersion, if they, if it's a junior, only a junior high or an elementary or a senior high, you'll find out every school that's in the boundary that you go to from this link. So I'll show you how to do it, and it's it's a it's a great tool. We are also asked, because I know in other parts of the world that there's rating systems. HRCE does not have a rating system for our schools. All our schools straight across the board are provided with the same supports and services. Some schools may seem to have more supports, but it's because they have a larger student body, and so the population of students requires that extra amount of support. But every school, if a child is in a school, is moving to a school that they need that support, it's provided. Private schools are not run by Halifax Regional Centre for Education. So if you are interested in those schools, you can pretty much find them via the internet. So there's the Shambhala School in Halifax, Sacred Heart, sorry, I have heard, Sacred Heart, Churchill, and Bridgeway are in Dartmouth. We no longer have Catholic schools. Sacred Heart has moved away from that curriculum to actually follow the same curriculum as the Department of Education has put forward. So French immersion here, unless your child has already had French immersion, you access it at early immersion in grade primary, so at 5, and then at late immersion in grade 7. So like some children all of a sudden might want to try it, so they can register in grade 7. However, if they have had French immersion in their home country, they are eligible to apply between primary and grade 7. Children with French ancestry, they can also go to the Francophone school. We're not attached, but I've included their information just in case you're interested in that. A lot of times I also get asked how many children attend the school that my child will go to. I've shared the link here as well, and it comes up and it'll give you the catchment, the population size of that school that your child's going to. All right. I know it's a lot to take in as parents in a new school. I myself am a military brat, so I lived all over the world and went to new schools every 3 years. So it's a lot to take in. Okay, I'm just going to come back to here real quick. Okay. All right. So for international students, so we have parents who have a work or study permit with children, which are of course required by RCC to apply for your study permit for your child. Um, so some people have been able to get the visitor visa for their children under their study permit. So please, if you have your visitor visa, don't go, oh my gosh, but some people have been lucky to do that. So if you haven't the study permit yet, which I'm sure all of your participants, all of your students have, so you're not going to really need that column. But again, so this is just the same thing for school registration requirements. Um, so we have 137 schools in our area, and we have, so just to give you an example of how you'll hear the word catchment a lot, and you must go to the school that is attached to your address. So for example, if somebody lived in Young's on 6274 Young Street, for elementary, they would attend St. Catherine's. For junior high, they would attend St. Agnes, and for high school, they would attend Citadel. If they went to French immersion, they would attend St. Catherine's, but for junior high, they would actually go to Oxford. And that comes down to amount of students in space. St. Agnes is predominantly an English school, so there's no French immersion in that space. So, so sometimes when you click on the link, you're going to see 6 options of schools, and that's the reason why, is the early French and the English are there. A lot of parents have moved here and asked about out of area. So out of area requests actually did start last week. You may seek placement in a school outside of your area that you reside in. You're allowed. However, the principals make the final decisions based on capacity. A lot of our schools are at high capacity right now, and so some people are getting declined for that out of area transfer. If you do apply for an out of area transfer, you're also responsible to transport your child to and from school. Um, I'll show you where that link is as well on our website. Our website is really easily maneuverable when using the search bar. So, but I will show you where that is. French immersion, again, I spoke to the early and the front and the late. Our school websites are also on on our page, and things that you'll find on the school websites will be like the bell schedule, when school starts and finishes, school resources, the Power School or the parent portal. So that will be all the information once you've registered your child. Policies and procedures for the school. For parents, there's a section actually called for parents. So each school has things listed that are relevant to their area. Like I think, for instance, a school out in Porter's Lake actually has a tick warning on their site. So that's pretty much not the same as a school in the middle of Halifax. So it's very relevant to their area. The school calendar will be listed so that you know of days where children are off of school. And I know that our schools do a pretty good job of almost matching up right across so that the parents and the students, university students and college students are pretty much out of school the same time as their children in school. And as well, you could find a school supply list. Some schools do require supplies, and some schools will just ask for money to buy the supplies. And I know when I was speaking to Otgon, community supports for children and families were some of the requests. So I've just made a list here. I'm going to send a link to the document that we use for this list of spaces and places. I have everything on here from tutoring to, outdoor activities to um, translation services, actually things for the students themselves. So I have this all listed here for you, and I'll share the document where all of the contact information is. Oh, we'll come back to questions real quick. I just want to show you the website one last time. And website. Okay, So right up here is our beautiful screen. As you see, what I type in a lot. So out of area, that's all you have to put in. And that comes up here. The policy, it went live last Thursday. You would just click here and you would just fill in the request. So the school that your child is registered at, because you still have to register your child at the school that is attached to your address. The requested school, the date, of course, is September 7th, your child's grade, the name, your name, and then the reason for the request. As much detail as possible. Um, I also tell people just to write it up on a Word document and then paste it in there, just so you don't lose it. And then, of course, your address, postal code, and then you submit it. The school, it goes directly to the principal and the secretary. And the principal gets back to you if you were successful or if you've been declined. Okay. The other thing on here would be schools. So it's a really easily maneuverable site. I'm just going to switch to a different language for a second that I might, where are we at? I'm going to go to German. Ich kann sprechen klein bisschen Deutsch. So this is the exact website translated. So about our schools. And when I switch, it's going to be translated to the language that I understand. Finding my school. So here are all the schools listed. So if you already know the school that your child is going to, you can just click it. So I'm just going to hit this high school. And then when you get to this page, the school's website is right here. And every single school landing page looks exactly the same. And then you'll get to the website, and this is where it gets a little more individual. So under here, this is everything about the school, and every page has the same thing, and this is where it's all independent. So this is all the information for the student, all the information for the parent. And like, for instance, this is where I wanted to show you that it's still going to be in English, only the website is translated. So if you did need help with translation of things like that, again, reach out to us, or your international students committee, association. Yeah.
Yeah, like embedded. Yeah, just contact SISA,
Yeah.
International Student Ambassadors.
Yes. So just and we can get you help with things like that, getting those forms translated. I'm going to go back to English because it's been a while since I've been able to really speak a lot of German. Come
So
on.
where did you find the list of school again?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to it in English. Okay. So about our schools. So
Mm-hmm.
right on the HRCE landing page.
Mm-hmm.
Just scroll down a little and it's right in the middle of our page,
Okay.
about our schools.
Gotcha.
And then school finder.
Gotcha. And they put basically uh, the all schools, or they can even, I saw that area home address lookup. So second option, like they
Yes,
can put their street address to figure out where the closest is. Yes.
exactly. So if you're just moving here, I always use my grandfather's address when I show this. Oops, sorry. I do that every time. It's only the street. You don't put the number first because some of the streets, half of the numbers go to a different school. So, and then find my school. And he was 2363. So I'm right here. And there's my schools. So as I was saying, like you might have 6 schools show up because this is the English and this is the French immersion.
Okay.
So
So basically, they go find a school based on the address, and then if the basically if you have a temporary address, and let's say if you really move have a permanent one later, then you go to the out of the area request and and change school. Is that correct?
So, it, ugh. So if you want your children to start now, you're going to register with that address. If you know you're moving in a month, then like some if like if they've signed the lease already for like say October, to actually speak to the school about that, because you might need to register for the school where your lease is instead of putting your child in the school for 3 weeks. um, so that you wouldn't do an out of area with that. You definitely connect with the school that you're going to be going to in October where your permanent address is, because if your temporary is for like 2 weeks in September, you don't want to register your children at this school and they're going to be going to this school for the next 10 months. It would be really important to just connect with the principal and say, my lease is for October 1st and my child is supposed to be going to this school.
Okay, so for those, there's a question. Due to the housing crisis, many students are staying in temporary accommodation, such as Airbnb. What is the best way to enroll child in school if one is in the situation and unable to provide a phone bill or utility bill? Will this be okay with the temporary?
So my big suggestion with that, and I've been dealing with other folks, is to actually deal with me. So all of that stuff would be sent to me, the registrations, the study permits, all of that, the registration form, and then I email the school and preface the registration with an email from me explaining the whole situation. And then the secretary or the principal will get back to the parent if there's any further question, or they will confirm registration. So it's one or the other, but it's really good to bring me in as like a middle person to kind of buffer that registration.
Great. So anybody who is having a temporary address, contact Missy. And then also, if you are doing a temporary address, then just try to really think of the like permanent one and register your kid. It's harder for you to shift. So always try to go with the permanent address. And then if you have questions, then contact Missy and she will help you.
Yeah.
Another question is, I have 2 years old son. He will attend elementary when he turns 4 years old. His birthday is on February.
So he's only 2 now?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
so he wouldn't start school until 2024.
mm,
Yeah, September of 2024.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Me and my family applied together and traveled together, but the immigration officer in Toronto, the port of entry, gave me permits only for me and my husband and our 2 children, 1 and 4 years old, had only their passport stamped. So MSI supervisor told us the children won't have their card until we get their permits. We've just learned that they should have received their own permit. We don't know what to do or how to get it. Have you ever seen something like this? Do you know something to help us?
My immigration counterpart, immigration international counterpart, is in a professional development today, so she couldn't be here. But minor children accompany. She gave me a cheat sheet. So minor children accompanied by a parent with a work or study permit do not need a study permit themselves, as they take on the status of their parents.
Gotcha. So they can use husbands or wives' permits to
So
enroll in
they're how old
school.
again?
So they are basically 1 and 4 years old.
Okay. So the 4-year-old should be fine to start pre-primary. Yeah.
Okay. And 1 year old is just 1 year
He's
old.
just 1-year-old. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so 4 year old can enroll if they want. And if you have questions, Claudia, just email because school is starting soon. If you need
Yeah.
anything, just contact Missy.
Yeah, because they
Um,
would just need their birth certificate and their passport, and then your healthcare insurance and your study permit to
Perfect.
register. Yep.
And basically, if for those who have MSI, they can you show that. But if you don't, as you know, you pay for the international student, like those student insurance. So that should be sufficient as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, as
Okay.
long as the child's name is on the document. Yeah.
And if your child's name is not on there, and if you need to add and stuff like that, I'm gonna put the link here for the insurance lady, Caitlin Gay. You can email her to say, can you put my kid's name? And they take a bit of while. So they're the third party. They're not NSCC. They're third party. So they do take a bit of time. I would just advise you to contact them ahead of time, like starting today. That
Yeah.
they might take time. If my kids arrive to Canada on September 13th. Can I register them before their arrival for school?
If you have all their documentation, yes.
Okay, so which are passport, insurance, and proof of residency.
That's correct.
And then click the link that I just sent to kind of find your schools and stuff. However, use your like if you have a temporary one, you're in Airbnb quarantine, contact Missy, and then try to register a student that permanently where you're looking permanent housing until you can
Right.
find your permanent house. One of the slide with the heading international student mentioned to have letter of acceptance from DLI. Was it for child or a parent?
For child.
International student mentioned to have letter of acceptance from DLI,
Yeah.
the designated students. So
So some of, oops,
they
sorry.
need to have acceptance letter of acceptance for the kids as well. Yes.
So only some do. If if, like, so a minor child, again, the 4-year-old is going to need an LOA. And then if the parent is already in the country and has the study permit and the child has the study permit, they don't need it. It's if you have to apply for the study permit for your child, then you'll need the LOA from us.
Okay,
Or
great.
even your school, because NSCC, I think, provides the same sort of thing for the students. So it's just a designated learning institute that would
Okay.
provide that so you could get the
So
study
we can
permit for
ask
your
from
child.
NSCC. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. And so what about kids? If you have any questions, who raised? Can you unmute yourself, whoever's speaking? Thank you. So if they are right now, I saw that calendar, a school calendar starts. So, and then the deadline said August 25th. So like if those international students just arriving now, we're gonna arrive in a couple weeks.
Hmm.
When is the deadline to register?
You can register your child at any time. So the reason we have what's called late registration is because it was all online all summer and dealt with here in my space. And then on August 25th, all files went to the schools. So from August 25th on, registration goes directly to the schools and not here to data. Um, so that's why it's called like late registration. But yes, you can register at any time. If if you're not comfortable registering before you've got a permanent residence, you can register then. And it's okay for younger children to, it's, if they miss a week or so of school. High school students, I wouldn't say so much because of the term. But, if you're waiting until you're comfortable and found a space and you don't register your children until, the 15th, 16th of September because you're finally in your space, that's fine. That's fine. You can register
Gotcha.
throughout the
That's
school
great.
year. Yeah.
Is there any fee to be paid for child's education during academic year if parents are on student permit or work permit?
Not if they have a study permit. If the child doesn't have a study permit, it's $50 letter of acceptance fee,
Okay, great.
which again they can get from you or us.
Okay, great. And then for so late registration is okay. Finding based on the address, they find their school on using your website. If they have any issues, they will contact you. But for the like, when is this school starts? What's the school academic year starting?
September 7th.
So first day of school for your kids are September 7th. And so, however, can they, like if students arriving around September, 15th or whatever, can the student like high school or whatever, they can walk in and attend the classes starting whenever they just arrived?
So, yeah, like they would register. They'd probably have to speak to guidance to pick their courses. as such, if they've not if they've not already done that. And it would be a great idea for the parent to even email the school saying that the child is coming. And you can actually, on all of the high school websites, you'll see a term called registrar. Email the registrar and let them know that your child will be registering late, moving here from wherever, and what kind of ball can they get start rolling before the student arrives.
So how long does the registration process take? Like if I submit the files that you showed us today, used your website and then filled it in and I emailed the registrar and
Mhm.
said, hey, I submitted a file, FYI. So how long does the registration process take?
So I've had people who, I'm going to go outside of the registration time. Like, so people who moved here in like April, um, it was like a Thursday and their girls were in school on Monday. It's that quick a process. It's just the school has to receive it. And at the beginning of like this week is crazy. Trying to get everybody registered. But like within a couple of weeks, that all of the bulk of everybody who's starting on Tuesday is done. So it's much quieter after Tuesday. It's here's an email, please register this family, and then the family's calling me and saying, "Yay, we're registered." So my kids start. Like, so it's a really quick process. It's just like right this minute, it's a little slower because there's just so many so many going through. But yeah. So yeah, so if you reach out, like I said, to the principal and say my child is coming, and yeah, and they will, they'll reach back to you even if they're not registered yet. You will hear back from them. And they'll ask you probably even for the transcripts or high school reports or secondary school reports from wherever they went to older school level, just to get a feel of what they've already taken.
So last question, like I saw that out of area request. So I saw that you clicked on your website, found the school by your area or your even list of it, and then there's the out of area. So what's the out of area request again?
Okay, I'm going to open that back up. Oh, it didn't go to it.
I see it. We see it, the form. So
Yeah.
I just want to
Okay.
make sure they understand the difference between the just finding a school and emailing the registrar and just applying, or the out of the area one. So what's the two
Right.
different? Yeah.
Okay. So let's see if this comes up again. There we go. Okay. So HRCE. So hrce.ca, out of area, search.
Yeah. When do we do the out of area?
After you've applied for your homeschool.
Okay.
So you've applied for your homeschool at 9 o'clock this morning. You get confirmation that they've received your documentation, and you apply for your out of area.
Um, why? What is that for?
Just so that they can make sure that this principal at the school that you're applying to, when they reach back to school A and they say, is John Smith a student at school A? And they say, yes, they're registered. Okay, well, we need their files because they're now going to be coming to our school.
So this is for transferring
Yes,
students.
yes.
So if my kid is going to, I live in South End, somewhere in South End, Halifax, my kid go to school, I register them and everything's fine. And then suddenly if I need to move to Bridgewater, which is a bit far away, then I do out of area request to transfer them from Halifax to Bridgewater.
Oh, no, that's a totally different process because that's
Oh,
outside
so
of our
I don't understand
school.
the out of the area request.
No. So if you're moving to Bridgewater, it's a totally different school center of education. So you would re-register all over again in Bridgewater, in Antigonish, Sydney.
Okay,
It's completely outside of our registration area.
okay.
But if you're going from the south end and say, so your child is going to school in the south end of Halifax at Le Merchant, and you're now moving to Bedford. So your address is now in Bedford, but you want your child to stay in Le Merchant. you actually have to register your child for the school in Bedford South and then apply for an out of area to keep your child in Le Merchant.
Okay, gotcha. So
Yeah.
out of area, just to clarify for everybody, so if you already register your student, your kid at as a school, and then you move and you still want to keep them, then you apply for out of area to keep your children there. Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense now.
Yep. And so
Thank you.
with NSCC, which campus are you?
I'm at Truro, but many students are
Okay.
Ivany, Dartmouth, so they are
Okay.
mostly Dartmouth area.
Okay. So say you live in um, this again, you live in the south end of Halifax and your children, you're going to Ivany and you know that like Alderney Drive School is on your way to school. So or Dartmouth South School, you have to apply where you live in the south end of Halifax. And then you have to apply for an out of area at Dartmouth South, which is, over the hill from NSCC. You would have to apply for an out of area to transfer your child to
Gotcha.
that
So
school.
any out of your, because the schools are based on your address, so then any school that's not outside of that area, then we need to do out of area request for your children. Explain your situation. If you need help, then Mrs. Searle will help you. So
Yeah.
a couple questions. If child completes fourth grade back in home country, will he be admitted to fifth grade in Halifax?
It actually goes by age. So just depending on year of birth.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So he
like,
will Pankaj just based on the age. So if based on the age, they will be submitted to the different grade.
yes.
Okay.
So let me see here. Pre-primary, primary 1, 2, 3, 4. So grade 4 here, they were born in 2012. Is that the year of?
Yeah. Either way, Pankaj just it's based on the age, and then you'll base. So you can write the age if you want. Marcel is asking. Currently, we do not have an address. We're at Airbnb quarantining, kinda. Yeah. So can I use the NSCC address to apply for schools for my children?
No.
Um,
No,
this
the registrar would know that that's the school. So no, you couldn't use that. You could use the Airbnb, and which is why I stress reaching out to me if you are in a hotel, motel, or an Airbnb.
So yeah, so basically, Marcella, as what Missy is saying, since you're doing Airbnb, if you know you want your kids to go to nearby Ivany or whatever, then you need to literally do the out of area request and then get your daughter or kids within that school, and then to explain it, right? So then because you don't have a permanent address yet.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So definitely reach out to me when you're ready.
okay, sounds good. Pankaj, he was born in 2012. How old is that?
Yep.
Pankaj, if
So
you just
that's grade
literally,
4.
yeah, that's great for. You should say the age, so we don't have to think in our head, calculate.
I had to write every
Yeah,
year
she's doing
down.
like math here. You should just write the age anyway. Yeah, so grade 4 or grade 5.
Grade 4, born in
Okay.
2012.
Do
Yeah.
kids need to do a placement test?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a couple questions and we're going to do a quick lucky draw and all the good questions we have. And at the top, there is a question that's not related to Missy. So, do I have to attend scheduled orientation on September 7th, continuing care program at 7 a.m.? Please contact your faculty. Orientation is recommended, and I will be attending all my orientation. And you do get a lot of good information there. So I would recommend you to attend it, but if you can't, then talk to your faculty and international advisors. And can you give us email address? Yes, it's at the top. I'm gonna write it again. And then we'll send you all the PPTs. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly share my screen now. Thank you, Missy. Hold on. I'm just going to do a quick lucky draw before they
Woohoo!
go. Meeting attendees. So they can register. I'm so happy that to know that they can register anytime.
Oh, yes, I have a family that's, um, uh, they're moving the students moving here in September, but the children aren't moving here till January, and
Mm.
she's ecstatic that she doesn't have to rush and register the children until, like, December, so she's like, "I don't have to worry about them, that's great." So she can wait, she's very happy.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, so I have recorded the meeting so they can also watch it again. And yes, all right, I'm just gonna do, there's a couple double people here. Uh, 30. I'm gonna share my screen and I just downloaded the attendance report and we have uh, all your names here. So we're gonna spin, and then whoever's lucky, just give us your student ID number, and we'll email you. We'll give you. You have a choice of Sobeys $25 or Irvin gas, right? Gas for your car $50, and then give your student ID number, and then we'll email you your card. So give us your Canadian address. And if you are not in Canada and arriving in a couple days, just wait until you get in Canada, have an address, and then send it to us. Yes. Okay, may luck be with you.
I love this wheel.
I know, but it's always like, who is it? Criminal! Yay! Congratulations. Write your W number on the chat, and then I'll send you the options, and then yeah, congrats. Thank you, Mr. Searle, so much for taking the time out of your lunchtime to give us this incredible information. And we had so many questions about it, and so we thankfully recorded it. So now we know where to go to register and what to do if you have a temporary address and um, stuff like that, all of it. So thank you. We really
Yes,
appreciate you.
and and a lot of the schools understand that this is a very difficult year to find housing. So,
Mm.
the principals are very, have been very flexible and very understanding. So, but again, reach out to me so that I can be that buffer for that registration going in.
So I just put Mrs. Searle's phone number and email there. And so you guys can call when you're ready to register your kid. And so, yeah, after your quarantine, get your kids registered because school starts September 7th and then our school starts in September, right? So good luck, everybody. Have a good day. And thank you, everyone, for attending. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care, you guys. Till then, bye bye. Okay, stop recording.